and inform the public. Great change in law requires great change in mindset. Not just pillars, but the wheels of this great republic, both bearing the burden of responsibility and guiding process. There can't be someone more fitting to address this subject than the Honorable Justice Surya Kant ji. We welcome you, sir. Thank you very much for taking out time and being part of the second Law and Constitution Dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you for those words, sir. I now take this opportunity to request our chief guest, Justice Surya Kant, Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court of India, to please join us at the podium and address our audience with his keynote address. The topic, of course, is how judicial judgments shape India's future. Justice Surya Kant, please. Let's have a huge round of applause for sir.
Mr. Kartikeya Sharma and other members of the management of News Channel X, of course famously known through the Legally Speaking program, Dr. Singhvi, members of the legal fraternity, I can see some members of the Supreme Court Bar Association, public personalities representing the state of Haryana and other northern India in public life. Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear students. Tarun has asked me to speak on media, social media and the law. I think some of you might be here last year in November, if I recollect, on the same channel and the same program. There also I spoke on media, almost the same subject on media and the law at that time. And I vividly recollect that I talked about the evolution of media in India, its contribution in the Indian freedom struggle, the importance of its independence in a democracy, and also the regulatory measures in terms of the Indian law. Whatever today I am going to share, please take it to the next chapter of my discussion, and I will start from where I left on the last occasion. Well, our legal system is the cornerstone of our thriving democracy, and the relationship between law and the media is both complex and crucial in shaping the public's understanding about the justice system. In a world where information is power and the pursuit of justice is paramount, the relationship between these two entities is both symbiotic and challenging. We know well that media plays a pivotal role in disseminating information, influencing the public opinion, and shaping narratives. It serves as the bridge between the legal realm and the public, acting as a powerful force that can either bolster or undermine the foundation of justice. The media serves as the eyes and ears of public. It provides a crucial check on the actions of those in power. Media has the ability to bring to light injustice, expose corruption, and amplify the voices of marginalized. In that sense, the media acts as a powerful force for transparency and accountability, holding a mirror to society and its institutions. The legal system is no exception. Therefore, first and foremost, It is essential to recognize the media's role as a watchdog, holding those in power accountable and ensuring transparency in the legal and political process. This power, we all understand, is laced with a greater responsibility. Journalists must strive for accuracy, objectivity, and fairness to maintain the public trust. Sensationalism, misinformation, and sometimes rush to the first to break a story can unwittingly distort the public's understanding of legal matters. As consumers of news, we must be discerning, and as members of the media, a commitment to truth and objectivity is key. I'm just reminded of Dr. Singh is here, a very eminent jurist. Justice Hand of the American Supreme Court, he beautifully said, and I'm just quoting his line, he said, "The hand that rules the press, the radio, the screen, and the far spread magazine rules the country." This is how the power of the press and media has been acknowledged. But then traditional media outlets, such as newspapers or maybe even to some extent even TV channels, have been shaping public opinion for decades and have indeed served as the primary conduit through which information flowed into our homes. But then advent of internet and the birth and subsequent maturing of social media has laid the groundwork for a paradigm shift. How it has happened? Firstly, the social media disseminates information in real time and is far quicker than traditional forms of media. That's a truth we acknowledge all. This rapid sharing of updates and not only keeps us informed with faster speed, but also enables much more consumption of information throughout the day. Secondly, social media enables users to not only consume information, but also actively participate and share their own feedback and narratives. This evolution has turned media from a one-way communication channel into a dynamic and interactive ecosystem where users shape and contribute to the discourse. And thirdly, and to my mind most importantly, social media platforms provide voice to the hitherto voiceless groups and enable amplification of opinions that went unheard and traditional media probably fail to acknowledge and recognize their importance. To be perfectly candid here, conventional media used to be the playground for privileged view. Maybe it was exclusively reserved for well-connected intellectuals, politicians, industrialists, bureaucrats, maybe jurists. And this is how the social media has become popular. Contrarily, any average person, an ordinary, a ruralite, a farmer, a panwala, a shopkeeper, a student, a young unemployed person, and so much so, I am going even to the extent of saying even the anti-social elements sometimes, you will find, they even find a platform to voice their views on social media. Social media therefore has emerged as a robust mechanism in participatory democracy where everyone now can carve some space for themselves. But then everything, when becomes a part of the social life and an integral system of part of the system which governs us, it is bound to have some challenges to be posed before us. So there are challenges being posed by social media also. In this era of instant connection and constant updates, we have to carefully navigate a complex web of opportunities and pitfalls. It is true that these social media platforms have revolutionized communication and information sharing, but they also pose a myriad of challenges that demand our attention and reflection. These challenges are not only technological, but also legal, social, moral, and ethical. Now that social media platforms are a universal part of our daily lives, an objective discussion around these issues and resultant solutions without tinkering with the autonomy of social media users will empower us to promote a well-adjusted and better informed online community which navigates the digital frontier with more responsible manner. Now, let us try to identify those challenges which I am trying to hint before you. The first challenge to my mind is the misinformation. The rapid information sharing via social media platforms is the risk of spreading misinformation. Content creation is a relatively new industry, and it has brought forth the challenge of misleading narratives, unfounded rumors, and sometimes even large-scale conspiracy theories. Adding fuel to the fire is the introduction of paid verification on platforms like X and the arrival of impressions-based revenue sharing. Recent events are a testament to this fact. In May only, I believe, the AI-generated image of an explosion near the Pentagon led to panic both in the streets as well as in the stock market. These are very serious threats to which we need to really be informative and find out solutions. The sheer expense of social media's usage makes fake news on such platforms a grave cause of concern. Nearly 60% of the world population is on social media. That's a very huge figure, with an average user spending nearly 2 hours every day on such platforms. A sizable proportion of these users comprise of adolescents, the aged, and casual users with low media literacy who might not be aware of fact-checking and believe the misinformation by taking it at its face value. Though the modern ecosystem of social media democratizes discussions, that very power that makes these platforms influential, but it also renders them to some kind of suspicion to misuse for nefarious designs. Let's be aware that extremist groups exploit these platforms for radical propaganda, while stock market, sometimes manipulators, coordinate efforts to hijack financial systems. In India, there is no specific legal regime to regulate fake news. Maybe we can harp upon some provisions like Section 499 and Section 500 of IPC. The way the scale of fake news is increasing with time and the nature of misinformation is becoming more and more diverse. This is my personal opinion that it might be necessary to enact a comprehensive law for targeting fake news, of course without creating a chilling effect on the freedom of speech and expression. For that, we can really depend on the makers of our Indian Constitution, who are in true sense great visionaries. Article 19(1)(a) bestows right of freedom and expression, but then it is subject to reasonable restrictions. The social media platforms can also set up their governance boards with dedicated teams for verifying the trending news items and spreading awareness about the factually correct information in case such news turn out to be fake. The other equally concerned issue is the of cyberbullying. In recent years, social media platforms have witnessed a disturbing trend where they transform into battlegrounds for relentless digital harassment. One of the aspects of such harassment is dogpiling, which occurs when a person becomes the target of multiple individuals ganging up on them with negative comments. The anonymity and distance afforded by online interactions fueled the social media platforms to act as an infestation ground for such harassment. What might begin a single negative comment can rapidly snowball into a torrent of hostility, leaving the victim feeling overwhelmed, isolated, and vulnerable. The pervasive fear of becoming a target harms mental well-being and compels individuals to self-censor or remove themselves entirely from such platforms. These apprehensions and the ground realities I am pointing out in the context of the constitutional most valuable right bestowed on the individuals in terms of right to privacy and right to have his own life and liberty in terms of Article 21 of the Constitution. These threats really pose a great danger to that most precious fundamental right of the individuals. The other issue which is of equal concern is trolling. This is also an unpleasant aspect of harassment. Trolling, which refers to the act of deliberately provoking or annoying others online by posting inflammatory or offensive content. This is done to seek a strong emotional reaction, often for the troll's own abusement. And I even go to the extent of saying that it's basically a procurement of sadistic pleasure. With the expansion of online learning and growing popularity of smartphone and social media among children, the most vulnerable target of cyberbullying are the young of impressionable age. The recent data information suggests that 80% of Indian children are reported being cyberbullied at rates well over twice the international average. It's a very, very serious and alarming. Since a lot of cyberbullying incidents go unreported on account of the social stigma, it is possible that the actual figures might be even more alarming. There are a few provisions, as we know, under the Indian Penal Code and maybe under the Information Technology Act to tackle this kind of crime. But as I said, these laws are extremely inadequate, primarily for two reasons, which I have been able to identify. Those are: the first, the damage is already done. It's an irreversible loss to the victim, even if the trial ends up in conviction. And second is the agony of an unending long trial because of our adversarial judicial system, which of course runs on defined procedure, and that cannot be debated. Therefore, I feel a dire need for an effective legal regime which must insist on knowing the identity of the mischief doer and advocates for a summary trial with exemplary consequences. Social media platforms must be a responsibility and must continually innovate to detect and curb trolling and cyberbullying. It is crucial to make the report mechanism more robust, ensuring quick and effective action. There is another third new trend, which I think being now debated on different public platforms, and I also would like to share, is that of deepfake. It's a real problem, rearing its ugly head. The ability to create realistic yet entirely fictional content can be exploited to harm individuals' personal and professional lives by spreading false information and creating damaging narratives. Social media platforms are replete with the instances where deepfakes have led to tarnishing the individual's reputation. You know what happened in July only, when Hillary Clinton video was faked, showing as if she was torturing a young girl. Maybe some part of the society where the affluent people, I can say, are in a position to successfully counter these fake narratives. But please think of the common citizen who may be exposed to this damaging effect of such manipulations, and he may not have the sufficient means to defend himself, to come out with the true and factually correct narrative. The potential for deepfakes is so discord, manipulative perceptions, and it compromises the foundations of truth and trust, which is a matter of grave concern. While deepfakes pose serious societal risks that demand attention from various perspectives, concerted actions are needed across technical, regulatory, educational, and ethical domains to curb their harms and ensure artificial intelligence progresses humanity in a direction of truth and understanding. As a community, we need to equip people with the skills to critically evaluate digital content and understand the potential risks posed by deepfakes. Collective commitment to responsible artificial intelligence development is equally necessary. Tech developers and practitioners should adhere to ethical values that prioritize transparency, accountability, and the protection of user privacy. I wish to say that in this era of interconnectedness, addressing these challenges demands a collective effort. We, as individuals, hold the power to shape the online world. With this power also comes the responsibility to cultivate an atmosphere of respect, empathy, and critical thinking for building a resilient digital society. Let's recognize the intricate interplay between social media and the law. Social media, in its essence, is a reflection of us. And of our society. It's up to us to determine whether it becomes a tool for empowerment or a weapon of misinformation. Let's strive for a digital world that serves as a force for positive change, unity, and understanding. I'm quite confident that the channels, a very popular channel, I can say, not only in India, and I have some information about the popularity even across the geographical boundaries of our country, and particularly the legal news channels like Legally Speaking, where we all must compliment Mr. Tarun Nangia for the educative, very well informed and very dispassionate programs which he provide on the Legally Speaking channels. I think all these issues can really be debated, and oftenly I see that he is able to have access to best of the brains in legal world. Dr. Singhvi, Mr. Rohtgi, some former judges, all leading countries jurists are always there available on channel. I think that's a great opportunity where we can debate, deliberate upon these issues. The advancement in society is a welcome step, but then that advancement should not lead to the harm of individuals' fundamental rights. It should not damage the society and the nation, and for which each one of us need to act in a very responsible and careful manner. And I hope that my sharing of thoughts today will lead to some, I would say, definite and some positive deliberations which will lead to the formation of a regime which is required to ensure that the media and the social media must enjoy its freedom of speech and expression, because that's also an integral part of the society. And at the same time, there is a very ethically responsible regime of the media and social media is developed. Having said that, I must say something about the young students also here present today. That's something I'm debating now from my subject, but I can see that some students from the National Law School are here. I would only simply say in 2 minutes that, dear young persons, the legal profession is full of excitement as well as challenges. When you are hearing Dr. Singhvi, you can imagine that kind of the achievements you can reach in the legal profession. But that's for you to make a choice eventually, whether you will choose for the bar or the bench. Both are very interesting and very exciting fields, and both are complementary and supplementary to each other. But I will say something more, that nowadays the legal education is not confined to bar and bench only. You are the social scientists, you are the social leaders, you are the watchdogs of the society. Whether you join civil services, whether you join bar, you join bench, you join politics, you join any business or any other field, this is a very, very important field that where you can contribute a lot. Your informed knowledge of law, your vision and your skills can definitely be utilized for the constructive development of the country and the society. What you need to be is that you must always be courageous enough to understand the right and the wrong, and you must take a firm decision with a commitment to go on the right path. The success is definitely waiting for you. All that I will say, my best wishes to all of you. Thank you very much for this.
Justice Surya Kant, we once again thank you, sir, for taking out your valuable time and gracing the Second Law and Constitution dialogue. I will request the audience to rise, please, and give a round of applause to Justice Surya Kant. He's spoken on law, media, and social media. He's spoken about several important topics, including deep fakes, which is becoming a menace to society. So we once again thank you, sir, for bringing such important issues of society to the forefront, and of course, leaving all of us with a lot of thought, with a lot of food for thought. Thank you so much, Justice, once again for gracing us with your presence. I request Mr. Kartikeya Sharma to please escort Justice Surya Kant